No, you're not going crazy. Yes, the signs that you are experiencing in your reality does have meaning. You are experiencing a spiritual awakening. This is a transitionary phase that tends to happen as a result of trauma, as a result of an experience that forces your subconscious beliefs and your conscious mind to go against each other. And when your subconscious mind, your conscious mind, and your body are no longer in alignment, this is where the body is unsure on who to follow, because the body follows the mind. But the mind is experiencing a war within itself, which manifests in a spiritual awakening. In this video, I'm going to be covering what a spiritual awakening is, what to expect in your journey, how to get through your journey much more easier and smoother, and what is going to happen to you as a result of this experience in your life. Let's get into it. Guys, I've been meaning to make a video like this, I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, but the videos I make on Instagram, I get a lot of views, a lot of comments, because I notice that I share visuals. People like to see when they are listening. Some people learn best when they see something. Others, don't need a visual. But yeah, that's just one thing I noticed. Just mark this out. Let's get into it. Okay. So, the word spiritual has a weird connotation to it, and I want to make it make sense for you. Anytime anyone is talking about spiritual, they are simply referring to the unseen world. The unseen world is all that it is. Spiritual, anytime you hear the word spiritual, people are referencing the unseen world. Right? The spirit is of the air element. It is your higher self, the higher senses, the senses outside of the five physical senses, which are taste, sight, smell, hear, and there's one other one, right? Feel, maybe, right? The human body has five physical senses. But when you are experiencing a conscious shift, a spiritual shift, you step out of what you can see with your physical eyes, and you start stepping into a world of feeling as you activate higher spiritual senses. The first sense that people normally experience when they are experiencing a spiritual awakening is the sixth sense. The sixth sense is intuition, more so known as a hunch, a feeling that something is going to happen, a feeling that I need to leave this environment, a feeling. You step out of the physical five senses where you are relying on your eyes to tell you what to do, and you step into the use of your sixth sense, which is the intuitive sense. Intuitive, if you even just say the word intuitive, internal, inner being, right? So you are stepping more into your spiritual, inner, unseen being. That intuitive internal play, that's just something I made up. I don't know if that's an actual thing or not, but I think it has some meaning, right? Intuitive, internal. I like that. So whenever you guys are experiencing a spiritual awakening, you are activating more higher senses. You are being stripped away from your 3D physical reality. So in the video, I'm going to be saying words like 3D, 4D, 5D, consciousness. These words are referencing your point of awareness, right? So the 3D is what you can see in front of you, the physical, the material, the identity. This is what the 3D is, right? But when you are undergoing a spiritual awakening, you are stepping out of the 3D, like being on this side, right? And you are moving into what's known as the fourth dimensional conscious awareness of reality. Ultimately, the goal in the future is you will be moving and shifting into what's known as the fifth dimension. Right? So the third dimension is where you are stepping out of. The third dimension is the physical plane, is the earth plane. So whenever you think of earth, people just think of the material. People think of what they can see, right? The 3D. So people who live more in the 3D, they are more drawn to material. They're more living in their sense of individuality. Therefore, they have a bigger ego. When you have a bigger ego, you experience more fear in your life, more pride in your life. Because in the 3D, you're not operating from a place of there's something outside of yourself. You're only living from what you can see, from what you have. And if you are only operating in your 5 human senses, there's no awareness outside of yourself. You're someone that lives more in your ego, your lower self. Your physical body is your egoic self. So you have a higher ego, you're more drawn to the material, right? You operate from more fear. The highest emotion you will operate from is like pride, where you need to prove yourself to the outside world through materialism, through status. Let me just stay on this side. Status, right? And if you're living more in your physical body, you think more from a place of logic. Logic. You know, point A to point B. I have to plan everything in my life because that's the logical, that's just what they know. That's what you guys know. You're living in the third dimensional plane where you are only using your 5 human senses. Right? So when people operate in the 3D, they're disconnected from the unseen world, the spiritual realm. And because they are disconnected from the spiritual realm, they often struggle with faith. So we're going to put this in red. I'm going to put this in red. All right? Struggle with faith. Because they struggle with faith, they have to work super hard. People who have yet to have a spiritual conscious shift, they have to work super hard. They don't understand manifestation, metaphysics, right? So this is what you are stepping out of. You are stepping out of this dimensional experience, your point of view of life, that this is all that there is. What you can physically see, what you can physically plan, right? And the only way to prove this is through the material manifestation of the effort that you put into the world through your logic, which will help you raise your status and increase your self-worth. This is the experience that people have before they undergo a spiritual awakening. A spiritual awakening. But I want you guys to know that a spiritual awakening is simply a conscious shift. Consciousness is all that there is. Consciousness is your awareness of others, of yourself, of how reality operates. So when you are undergoing a spiritual shift, a spiritual awakening, this means that you are elevating in your conscious awareness outside of the third dimensional realm experience to the fourth dimensional gateway experience to the fifth dimensional awareness experience. So spiritual awakening is a breakthrough in consciousness from one level to another level to a higher level. But every single dimensional conscious awareness, what's going to happen is you're going to use more unseen senses to help you pull information in reality. So you are going to have a different experience in reality. This is why many of you guys are able to feel the emotions of people. You're able to just read them, right? But that does not align with the 5 human senses. That does not align with that. You're stepping out of a world where you can only pull in information from your 5 human senses. Instead, you are becoming more of who you are. And who you are is you are an electromagnetic being. I'll write this down somewhere. You are an I don't even know how to spell it. Electromagnetic being. You are a light being. I'm going to fix this really soon because this looks crazy. But you are a light being. You are an electric being. Right? Your nerves sends information through your brain. So, when you are experiencing a spiritual awakening, you are shifting from this experience of how life works into another experience of how life works. And then into another experience of how life works. But as you begin to have a breakthrough in your conscious state of awareness, your body is in need of an upgrade. Is in need of an upgrade. Because the body follows the mind. The body follows the mind. So when your mind begins to question itself and experience new things, if the mind is ungrounded, the body is going to follow the mind. This is why many of you guys, when you are undergoing a spiritual awakening, you often get sick. You get depressed. You spend a lot of time alone. And as a result, again, because your mind is ungrounded, there's no law and order in your mind, your body has no law and order. This is how it works. Let me go ahead and erase this. Okay. Damn. I actually want to leave this right here. Let me leave this stuff. Might have to just write it again. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to redo it. It's okay. Okay. Alright. So I left off in explaining to you guys conscious awareness. You're shifting from your lower self, your egoic self, the version of you that only reads the world from your 5 physical human senses, into what's known as the gateway conscious perception of reality. That's the 4th dimension. But the 4th dimension is not a dimensional experience you stay in. This acts as a door between higher realms and lower realms. Right? You guys are a light being. We are electromagnetic beings. We are made of light. That's what we are. Everything is energy. I'm going to write that up here. Everything is energy. Energy is everything. I don't know why my brain just flipped it like that. Right? Everything is energy. Right? And because everything is consciousness, everything is aware of itself, right? This means that everything, in a sense, is alive. Everything is alive. This is also why when people undergo a spiritual conscious awakening, a conscious shift, life starts to feel more vibrant. They go outside and they are more drawn to nature. They want to spend more time in nature. They want to spend more time outside. They want to break out of their old routine. This is because they are experiencing an elevated state of conscious awareness, feeling the interconnectedness of life. So the trees start to feel alive. The trees have always been alive, but not in a normal way. Not in a normal way where, okay, it's just alive, it's just a plant, but more so it is as conscious as you are. It is, or it matters just as much as you. Again, we are stepping out of the 3D, right? So we're stepping out of the egoic mind to where, let me make this make sense. So the ego, anytime anyone refers to ego, ego is the part of your brain. It's the version of you that is designed to help you identify yourself in the world. Your ego is designed to help you identify yourself in the world. Your ego feeds off of identification. It feeds off of status, right? It separates itself from the outside world. So when people have a hard time in feeling the interconnectedness of life, this is because they have an inflated ego, right? But the more connected you feel to everyone around you, to your friends, your peers, to your neighbors, this means you have a small ego, right? You live more from your heart. You live more from your spirit. So because you are stepping out of your egoic self, where you feel like you matter more than anybody else, your life is more important than anybody else, right? You are no longer truly focusing on yourself, like self-serving. When people have a big ego, they're like more self-serving. They really think about themselves. You're stepping out of this third dimensional awareness, and instead you are shifting into the fourth dimensional experience, where you are beginning to question reality. You are beginning to feel interconnected, right? You are beginning to question the purpose and point of your life. What else? Because you are questioning your life, who you are, your point and place in the universe. You're feeling more interconnected. You are experiencing signs, synchronicities. You are experiencing empathy because you are shifting more into your heart space. Heart space. Right? You naturally want to be of service. You want to be of service to the world. Right? You begin learning about manifestation. Does this sound like you? Does this sound like you? The person who's watching this, who's undergoing a conscious spiritual awakening, does this sound like you? You are shifting out of your ego, physical self, and into an awareness greater than yourself. An awareness more connected to the world around you. And that is because you are stepping out of your ego. You may have had an event, a traumatic experience in your life that made you question with your belief, with your core belief, your religious belief, your programming. And as a result, you're feeling like there's more to life. There's something that you are not told. There's something you're not seeing.